It was this proportionalism which equipped Catholic moral theologians with new arguments about the Church's moral teaching, updating ancient truths in accord with modern contemporary views. Many were inclined towards this proportionalism prior to the Council, but aggiornamento was taken after the Council to be a battle cry for a new approach. Like the Anglican theologians of the Lambeth Conference in 1931, Catholic theologians were catching up to the Protestant view that moral principles can operate differently in new situations, especially made possible by new technologies. The established principle which favored the procreative end of the sexual act could now be applied in a way which permitted contraceptive technology for the regulation of birth. Catholic moral theologians trained before and after the Council were almost unanimous in their recommendation that birth control may be used to help families plan how many children they want. The Council Fathers had taught none of this. It was not something they took up, but the moral theologians saw it as their responsibility to update Catholic moral teaching in the light of new technology and realities. It was the transformation of moral theology which made a conflict with the magisterium famously inevitable. Paul VI's 1968 reaffirmation of the Church's teaching in Humanae Vitae would cause a hailstorm within the Church in theology departments and seminaries and parishes throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, precisely the time in which we saw a huge surge in heinous sexual crimes committed by some priests, mostly against older boys and young men. It would take the entire pontificate of St. John Paul the Great to reverse the decaying effects of proportionalism with his teachings, such as the 1993 encyclical Veritatis Splendor, doing much of the heavy lifting that rejected proportionalism. The subsequent return to virtue ethics and moral theology has been an academic antidote where it has flourished. By 2002, however, the world knew the terrible consequences of priests who were just as confused as my father about the Church's updating of moral thought, who doubtless found themselves in situations in which they also could justify their behavior by their loving concern.